In today's video, I'm going to show you how I took this yard sale suitcase and turned it into this. It wasn't pretty, but as soon as I saw it, I knew what I wanted to do with it. And I knew in my head how I wanted it to turn out. And this is what I did. To make over this suitcase, I'm going to use YARD SALE paint, 1 hour enamel in the color Antique Villa, Fusion Mineral Paint in Peony, and Redesign with Prima Decor Transfer in Lavender Bush. The first thing I did was clean it up and remove the insides. To clean it, I used a putty knife and this tool, which might be my new favorite tool. It's called a mini scraper, but the thing that looks like a razor blade is plastic, so it's really nice because it doesn't like jab into the wood. What's it like to hold his hand when he tells you that you're... I let it dry overnight and then I gave it a coat of shellac inside and out. I had a piece of scrap wood that I used for a shelf. And I shaved it down a little bit with the belt sander for a better fit in the suitcase. I needed to measure how high the shelf was because when I went to nail it in, I wouldn't be able to see where the shelf was. So I had to keep checking to see if I actually hit the shelf. And if you don't have a tool like this, I think it's a brad nailer, I can never remember, you could easily use a hammer and nails. And I was finally ready to paint. And the reason I used 1 hour enamel paint is because it has a built-in sealer. So that meant I didn't have to do an extra step before I applied the transfer. Normally when you do a transfer, you always want to seal your paint before you do the transfer so that it will adhere better. Once it was all painted, I wanted to recreate the lines that were originally on the suitcase. And I used Fusion Mineral Paint in Peony for the lines. When you're painting a stripe like this, you want to make sure that you don't overload your brush with paint. You would rather do 2 light coats than 1 heavy coat because you don't want that paint to get under the tape. And it's so satisfying when you see a nice crisp line after removing the tape. When I put that second piece of tape down, I made sure that it didn't stick to the line I had just painted. What's it like to be the one that he turns to and it was finally ready for the transfer. And if you've never used a transfer before, really the hardest part is picking out which flowers or which design on the transfer you want to use. A tip to always remember when you're using a transfer is to keep that paper backing on until you get your design figured out. You don't want it sticking to your project and ruining your transfer before you get your design on. And you can see right here, I did just what I said not to do. I think I have my design in the right place, but I don't, so I have to slowly lift my transfer to make sure that none of it sticks to my project before I readjust and get it centered. This wooden tool will come with your transfer, and that's what you use to rub on the design to get it to stick to your project. And you don't need to use tape. Once you press your transfer down, it's not going to go anywhere. You want to slowly lift the carrier sheet that the transfer's on. And if any part of the transfer is still on the carrier sheet, you just put it back down and keep rubbing. Once you have the carrier sheet completely removed, you want to take that carrier sheet and rub it all over the transfer just to make sure that it's sticking really well. That's called burnishing. And that's how easy it is to do a transfer. So I just had to keep going and get all my transfers in place. You can see right here, it's not sticking really well, so I just have to keep going back and rubbing. You can even layer transfers. And the final transfer was done. I love how this turned out. It's one of my favorite projects that I've ever done. Do you have any suitcases that you can redo? I hope this video has inspired you to try transfers. They add so much to any project. And if you have used transfers before, I'd love to know what kind of projects you put them on. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and if you like this kind of content, I hope you subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Here's another video you might like to watch.